Good day, guys. In this video, I'll walk you through the trade opportunities that was presented last week. Um, this is the third week of May. So these are the trades opportunities that are presented on GBPUSD, right? I only trade two pairs at the moment, GBPUSD and SPS 500. So for these, this is just the trade opportunities that are presented this week on GU. And then for SPS 500, let me show you the trades I took as well on SPS 500. My network is a bit bad. So for SPS 500, these are the trade opportunities presented on SPS 500. I caught this and this as well. Like I caught the three trades, but then I'll explain what happened along the line. Okay, so for SPS 500, these are the three trades that presented last week. Right? I think no, it was more than three. I think I marked somewhere. I had a trade also from somewhere here. Yeah, I had a trade from here exactly this zone. Yeah, I had the trade from there too. So these are the trades of opportunities presented on SPS 500, and I will explain to you what happened during the week, right? So this was on Monday. So okay, when I did my top-down analysis on SPS 500, generally we are bearish on like the overall trend for SPS 500 is bullish, right? But the short-term pullback we are bearish. So I had this zone also. I had this one marked out as well. This was the trade. For those that have been following me, this was the trade I shared with you last week that held from Friday to Monday, right? So this was just the continuation of the trade. Now I also had here marked out. I also had here marked out. Yeah, I also had this one marked out. So these are these trade opportunities SPS 500 presented. I wanted to take this. I wanted to take this, but it tagged during um it tagged on the new day, like on Tuesday. So when it tagged was not my trading time. So that was why I did not take this particular trade here. And then for this other one, I was very skeptical about this trade, honestly. So I did not take this. I did not take this particular trade from here. But then it has both inducement, it has break of structure. Let me expand this. Alright. So this was the zone I marked as inducement. Very clean inducement. And then this was supposed to be my target. But one of the reasons I did not take this trade was because of at the time of marking out this POI, I did not have a very clean sell side liquidity. So it was after the trade has mitigated and the rest of that, I found out that there is a clean sell side liquidity, which is from the daily time frame. So that was how I missed this trade opportunity. I missed this trade opportunity as well. Then it was this one I took, and then I was targeting another sell side liquidity down. This trade was a total of 107. So that was where I was targeting. And then when I got mitigated, when my POI got mitigated, it moved and it failed to break below this low. And now this is now like a market structure shift, right? This is now a market structure shift. So when I noticed this market structure shift, price was heading changing direction. I broke even on this trade, right? And as you have it, price came, hit my break even, and took me out of the trade and continued buying. So if I had not broken even, that would have been a loss, right? So some persons are actually against breaking even, but then there are certain times when it's very reasonable for you to break even, right? So immediately price failed this zone. We came and continued the buy from this demand. This is a very valid demand zone. Yeah, price reacted from. right? So price reacted from this demand zone and continued the buy. So when I saw where price reacted from this zone, I immediately knew when I saw where price reacted from, I immediately knew we are bullish. Immediately this my supplier failed. It was a very strong confirmation that we are bullish, right? So how I got this particular entry was this. I noticed price reacted from this breakout block here. And this reaction happened before the Asian section for the new day. Now, initially I wanted to buy from here. Let me show you. Initially I wanted to buy from here. But then when I looked at my chart closely, I discovered this zone, this breaker block was mitigated. This is the breaker block here. It's clearer from the 30 minutes time frame, but it's also clear here on the 15 minutes. So this breaker block was mitigated before the Asian section. This is the Asian section here. This green section here. Yeah, that's the Asian section. Now it mitigated before the Asian section. That was why I took my entry from here. If this particular breaker block now was mitigated during Asian section, I would have taken my buys from here, right? Yeah, I would have taken my buys from here. So, but since it's got mitigated before the Eastern section, that was why I was confident this zone we hold, right? So that was how I got into this buy. This is a 1:4 buy, 1:4 R, almost 1:5. So that was how I got into the buys, and we got taken out, and then I was expecting US 500 to make an all-time high. I was expecting an all-time high on SPX 500 on Friday. So I took this entry from here on Friday, and I used my Asian section as my inducement. For those, if you've been following me, you know that I do not trade during Asian section. Asian section lows and highs are most of the time my liquidity to be taken and liquidity to be targeted. So that was how I was able to get into this trade on SPX 500 on Friday. And I was targeting an all-time high, which was where my TP, which was where I had my TP, but price did not get there. Instead, price did just 1:4 and reversed, right? So one of the things I noticed last week on SPS 500 on my trades where price was giving me at least a 1:4 before reversing. This one gave a 1:4 too. See? This one gave a 1:4 too before reversing. This one too gave a 1:4 before reversing. So if I've had a fixed risk to reward of 1:4, I would have gotten this trade, I would have gotten this other one, and that would have been a total of 1:8 plus 1:4. That is 1:12 for just 1 week, which is enough to pass any prop firm phase one. Even if the prop firm phase one is 10%, this this three trade is enough to pass a prop firm. So let's go to GU. Let me explain the trade I took on GU as well. Okay, so these were the trades I took on GU. These are the trades that played out on GU last week. So GU, I was bullish on GU, right? Let me show you. We had a market structure shift somewhere around there. My chart is still loading. The network is a bit bad. Okay, so we had we had so this was where we had a shift in market structure. This zone here. Why am I marking this zone? This was the last mitigated candle here. So immediately it failed. This was supply. This is the value supply. Immediately it failed. Then we changed structure, market structure shift. So I was expecting price to still come. This was where I had my entry. This particular candlestick here. That was my entry. Like this was my entry I marked out. and then I use there as my inducement. I use this leg as my inducement. But what I noticed was price, this candle here has mitigated, right? Now there was no clean candle again for price to react from. That was why I did not take my buys from there, from this particular zone here. So I was not too sure, and there was no clear price did not make any inducement. If there was an inducement just exactly above this POI, because this was my first POI I marked out to take my buy from. Yes, I wanted to take my buy from here. I marked it out. But the reason I did not take it was because of there was no inducement. So for trades like this, what price can likely do is, since there is no inducement, after price has pulled up like this, price can just pull back again into this valid POI and continue the buy. That was what I was expecting. But price did not create any inducement. Instead, price just used this zone and bought, right? So that was how I missed out on this buy on GU. This was my POI. So probably in the future, price can come back to this POI and have a short term buy or something like that. So that was that trade. That was how I missed it. Then this trade, this was a breaker block. This is a 30 minutes breaker block. Let me see if I can get it. My network is bad. My internet connection is bad. Okay, so let me show you the 30 minutes breaker block exactly. Now look at the 30 minutes breaker block here price. I marked it out, right? The reason I did not take this trade, I will explain to you. Now this trade is high probability trade. Like this is a high probability trade. Why is it a high probability trade? We have the previous day's low. Wait, like this is a what I was waiting for this trade was for Asian section to finish forming. Because if this trade tagged during the Asian section, I wouldn't have taken it. But I was waiting for it to tag after the Asian section, right? And then I was still sleeping. So with around 5:30, the Asian section was done forming already, but I was not on my chart. So now why am I saying this trade is a very high probability trade? Previous day's low. This is previous day's low, Tuesday's low, right? Tuesday's low was acting as an inducement into this POI. Asian section as well was acting as an inducement into this POI. This is the kind of setup where you can risk 2% and you come out with good win rate. Look at the trade, clean 5R, because this was my target. I was targeting this high. This was previous day's high. That was my target. That was why I had my target. And you look at what happened. Immediately price came there, price got there by 7. And by then I was not on my chart because I usually come on my chart around um 9:10. That's when I usually come to do my market analysis. But then I do end of day analysis so that the new day won't be taxed to analyze, right? So that was what I was expecting. I was expecting price to come there around 10, 11. And believe me, if price has gotten there by 10, 11, I would have risked on this trade and see how it played out. So that was how I missed out on this trade. So this was another trade that happened on GU as well. Although we did not get our TP, right? So this was just a buy continuation. A buy continuation. This is a 1 hour. That entry was from the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, this was it. This was where I marked as my entry, and I placed my SL just below this low here, right? Below that low. So that was where I had my entry marked out. And the reason I also did not place this trade because I was already on the SPS, on the sell on SPS. Or was it a buy? It was a buy on SPS. Yeah, I was already on the buy on SPS, so I did not take this trade. And then on Friday I had this one marked out as well on GU. Let me show you. Yeah, this is the candlestick I use. This candlestick here. Look at it. This particular one. That's why I had marked out on on Friday. and I was targeting this zone as well. But unfortunately, price did not get to that zone and is already end of week. Let me see. This high was not taken as well. This high was not taken as well. So this is more like a market structure shift. That high was not is now that place is now looking like equal high. Okay. That high was not taken. So if peradventure when market opens on Monday, if this candlestick fails on Monday, if it fails, then I will start looking for sales on GBPUSD, right? Anything can happen. Price can just come back to this other block here and continue buying. Anything can happen. But if peradventure this my buy POR, this my demand zone, if it fails, if this demand zone fails, then I'm certainly looking to take um, a sell on GBPUSD. So guys, these were the trades I took last week, and I've actually created. I have a new Telegram channel where I do send my trade entries to. So if that's something you're interested in, you can just check the link below this video or in my bio to join, and it's completely free. All right. Thank you, and don't forget to follow me for more videos like this.